At the foot of the majestic snow-capped mountains of Turkey, the wild boars kept moving relentlessly, undeterred by the freezing winter, destroying the highland fields and making life even harder for the locals. Faced with this urgent situation, we, the professional hunters, not only had to confront the savage beasts, but also battle the harsh weather conditions. Can we stop this devastation? The answer will soon be revealed. The hunting vehicle rolled forward, taking us straight to today's hunting spot. Upon arrival, after assessing the terrain, I chose a vantage point with a clear line of sight. Adjusting the scope and preparing to wait for the target to appear, a dark shape began to emerge on the opposite snow slope. Seizing the opportunity, the shot rang out, but the power of the animal was truly impressive. Despite being hit, it still tried to find an escape route. Quickly closing the distance, I was taken aback by its size. It must be over 200 kilograms. Taking aim, my finger squeezed the trigger. Another shot rang out, ending its rampage and bringing peace back to the area. The joy was short-lived, when suddenly, the hunting dog's barks pierced the air, louder and more urgent than usual. Sensing something unusual, I immediately sprinted toward the sound. The dogs had caught wind of something, and they were never wrong. Rushing to intercept, I took aim at the vital spot. Headshot! A perfect finishing blow, bringing everything to a close with complete control. After the loud explosions, the wild boars grew increasingly panicked, hiding deeper in the thicker bushes below. Following the slope of the hill, I patiently scanned every hidden corner with binoculars, missing no movement. There it was. It was lurking among the dry branches. The opportunity was here, and I steadied my rifle, squeezing the trigger. Quick, precise shot, and the prey dropped immediately. While I was focused on the prey in front of me, other lone targets had already sensed our presence. Without hesitation, I signaled Finn, who was positioned to the left. Upon receiving the signal, he immediately went into high alert. As soon as he spotted the target, a series of precise maneuvers rang out in time, successfully halting their escape. That seamless coordination allowed us to maintain the upper hand in every critical moment. After that perfect finish, we quickly brought in a few more spoils. Continuing up the nearby hill, we swept the area. The wild boars had appeared, scattered in groups and a few solitary ones hiding everywhere, making the chase more difficult. Following the remaining tracks on the snow, we gradually closed the distance to our prey. Soon after, a series of shots rang out in the still air. The pursuit temporarily came to an end, reaffirming our dominance over this land once again.
Hold it up.
The weather grew colder by the minute, but fate seemed unwilling to close the chapter just yet. The wild boars were still scattered around the area, like stubborn phantoms in the midst of the white snow. Not allowing them any chance to turn the tide, we were determined to prevent any possible turn of events. As time passed, one by one, Each boar fell, lying motionless on the white snow. Despite treacherous terrain or harsh conditions, ferocious wild boars with their staggering reproduction rates are becoming a major threat. They sweep through, destroying crops, tearing up the land, and endangering human and livestock lives. Today, the hunters are ready to set out, determined to stop this monstrous horde. Fierce battles and heart-pounding encounters lie ahead. Do they have the courage to quell this wild beast uprising? Follow along right now. Amid the sub-zero chill of the Romanian mountains, a fierce battle was unfolding. At this moment, Finn's hunting team had surrounded and secured key positions where they predicted wild boars would appear. Not long after, Leon kicked off the first ambush. Through his binoculars, he spotted a wild boar weaving through dense trees. As it stepped into an open clearing, a shot was fired instantly. The boar collapsed immediately, unable to resist. A decisive shot marked the start of today's battle. Continuing to follow the tracks left in the snow, Leon and his team pressed forward. From a distance, a familiar silhouette quickly appeared, lurking among the dry bushes. Choosing a strategic position and angle, he pulled the trigger. A series of shots rang out, cutting off the beast's escape route. Thus ended a formidable threat in the frigid mountain wilderness. In another corner, Finn quietly tracked through the snow-covered hills. Suddenly, from behind the bushes, a dark hulking figure emerged. Without hesitation, gunshots rang out in rapid succession. The beast finally lay still, unable to take another step. Hunting in the snow is a relentless battle between the hunter and harsh nature, but each shot fired is a declaration to maintain peace for this land. Leaving the icy, snow-covered mountains behind, we head to a forest in Turkey, where Kevin's hunting team arrived early. Upon reaching the area, they swiftly took their pre-assigned positions. 15 minutes passed when a sharpshooter, quietly observing, suddenly spotted a wild boar darting past like an arrow. Acting on instinct, he immediately pulled the trigger. A single precise shot stopped any chance of the boar's escape. Another threat was eliminated, cleanly and decisively. At the same moment, deep within the forest, a tense confrontation unfolded between Kevin and a massive wild boar. The familiar barks of the hunting dogs echoed, and Kevin and his team immediately sprang into action. Right before their eyes, the monstrous beast appeared. The instant they met, it charged furiously straight at Kevin. Without a hint of panic, he pulled the trigger. The shot halted the attack in the critical moment. Truly heart-stopping. A mere second later, and Kevin might not have been the one in control. In another corner, a sharpshooter in a concealed position quickly spotted a wild boar attempting to flee. Without hesitation, a gunshot rang out, and like a scene from a perfect film, the boar collapsed behind a tree. Before he could even lower his rifle, another boar charged forward. With a single pull shot, it too fell motionless on the icy ground. The reign of terror these creatures had inflicted on the forest was brought to an end.
Cunning beasts, with their sharp intelligence and razor-like hooves, ravage crops and instill terror among farmers. Fearless hunters, undeterred by harsh weather, stand ready to confront them and protect the community. Thrilling chases and spectacular ambushes are about to unfold, revealing the outcome. Don't hesitate. Join us now to witness and pick the most epic hunt. Hunting wild boar in harsh, snowy conditions. Seemingly impossible, but for John's hunting team, nothing is out of reach. The team ventured into the snowy mountains of Turkey in their trusty vehicle. Upon arrival, they swiftly deployed into formation, moving to pre-planned ambush points. Not long after, on the eastern side of the range, a familiar dark shape darted across Finn's line of sight. Tracking the wild boar's movement, he pulled the trigger. The gunshot rang out decisively, and the boar collapsed, lying motionless on the white snow. At another spot, a team member spotted a dark figure weaving through dense branches. The wild boar was completely unaware it was in the hunter's crosshairs. As soon as its body emerged from the thick underbrush, rapid gunshots rang out, cutting off all escape routes. Before it could comprehend what was happening, it lay still on the snowy ground. The pursuit pressed on, with John quietly tracking faint hoof prints etched in the white snow. Suddenly, a wild boar emerged, cunningly concealed in a hollow among dense bushes. Without hesitation, John swiftly closed in, gripping his rifle firmly. A decisive gunshot rang out, and the beast collapsed on the spot, unable to resist. Another threat eliminated, the hunt surged toward its climax. The barking of hunting dogs echoed across the distant forest, and Finn immediately bolted toward the familiar sound. Within minutes, he arrived, facing a wild boar cornered by the pack, frantically seeking an escape. Without hesitation, a shot struck the boar's body, halting its desperate bid for freedom. Another mark was etched into the snowy mountains, cold, brutal, and fiercely intense. A tense ambush was unfolding in a garden in France, where the beasts were ravaging crops. Another hunting team had arrived, setting up a tight encirclement around the garden. Just minutes after taking position, two wild boars suddenly charged past Nick and his teammates. A rapid volley of shots rang out. The larger, heftier boar dropped instantly. While the others swiftly escaped into the adjacent field in a split second. Determined not to let the wild boar escape, Nick immediately signaled through the radio, pinpointing its direction for his teammates. On the other side, a marksman stood ready, firmly gripping the rifle. As predicted, the boar appeared. A rapid burst of gunfire erupted, crushing any hope of its escape. The cunning beasts were subdued, and the garden was temporarily safe from danger today. Not only foraging for food, wild boars also spread terror across crops and people's lives. Lurking in harsh conditions, they challenge every human limit. But whether it's bone-chilling cold or scorching heat, the hunters grip their rifles tightly, steadfastly advancing into the battlefield, where only grit determines survival. Will they succeed in taking down these beasts? Heart-pounding moments are about to unfold, and don't forget to watch until the end to pick the most unforgettable hunt. In sub-zero cold, Nick's hunting team presses forward through the snowy mountains of France, swiftly taking their assigned positions. Amid the snow-covered forest, a hunter keenly tracks every movement behind the dense trees. Suddenly, a large herd of wild boars appears, moving in an orderly line. Without hesitation, he locks onto the largest, fattest one and pulls the trigger. The target drops instantly, and the herd scatters in panic. The next shot only manages to take down the last boar before the rest vanish into the deep forest. A swift, cold-blooded opening shot kicks off today's challenging hunt. The tracking signal pinpoints the wild boar's location, and Nick immediately checks their direction of movement before leading the team straight to the ambush point. As expected, the herd starts to emerge from the snow-covered bushes. Gunshots ring out almost simultaneously, taking down the one by one. On the white snow, only their scattered carcasses remain. A precise operation, leaving no chance for escape. At another position, a hunter spots the silhouette of a wild boar lurking among the trees. Not giving it a chance to escape, a bullet strikes the beast, and it collapses instantly. Moments later, gunfire erupts from other positions, signaling more victories for the team. All threats from the monstrous herd are swiftly eliminated, restoring silence to the harsh, snowy mountains. A chase on the Moroccan hillside is reaching its climax. The hunting team arrived early, spreading out to surround the hill. The pack of hunting dogs immediately scatters to track down traces of the prey. In less than 10 minutes, a signal sounds, and moments later, a wild boar darts past Henry's line of sight. Without hesitation, a barrage of gunfire erupts, cutting off the bull's escape. Continuing to follow the remaining tracks, Henry moves along the hillside, peering intently through his binoculars. Suddenly, a large, fat wild boar appears, weaving through the bushes on the opposite side. Waiting for its body to fully emerge from the foliage, Henry swiftly pulls the trigger. The gunshot echoes, and the boar collapses on the spot, unable to take another step. Another victory is claimed, and a formidable threat is eliminated. At another spot on the hillside, a hunter suddenly spots a wild boar charging straight toward him. Just as it bursts through the bushes ahead, the gunshot rings out almost simultaneously. The clean, precise shot brings the beast down before it can escape. The threat to crops and the safety of the locals has been completely neutralized. In recent years, wild boars have become a major threat to global agriculture. And when every method of driving them away fails, only one option remains: hunt to protect. Today, we're taking you deep into the harshest lands, where humans face wild boars head-on in breathless, high-stakes battles. Perfect ambushes, pinpoint shots, and near-death moments. All of it captured in today's video. Hunting wild boar in frozen, snow-covered mountains sounds like a crazy challenge, but for Ethan, it was a mission he had to take on to protect his family's crops. In temperatures dozens of degrees below zero, he silently followed the footprints across the thick snow. When the wild boar appeared, Ethan chose a high vantage point, hid behind a large rock, and waited. There was a thunderous shot that rang out precise and devastating, bringing the target down. But the battle didn't end there. He had to keep moving, pushing through biting winds and snow-covered terrain to take down more targets. Shifting to the rugged mountain ranges of the American Southwest, Noah faced an experience he'd never forget. A wild boar appeared near the forest's edge, quick, cunning, and alert. With his rifle already chambered, Noah waited for the perfect moment, and when a massive male stepped into view, he pulled the trigger. However, the sound of gunfire sent a nearby herd into a frenzy, and Noah found himself in the middle of a dramatic chase across steep, rocky cliffs. Every breath was tense, driven by his determination to eliminate these invasive threats once and for all. Caleb, a local farmer, could no longer stand by and watch his crops be destroyed. He decided to take matters into his own hands, grabbing his rifle and teaming up with friends to form a patrol group to protect the fields. With the help of sharp-nosed hunting dogs, Caleb soon tracked down a herd of boars hiding nearby. Then came the gunfire, shot after shot, each one deadly. One shot, one kill, target after target taken down. In another development, deep within the dense forests of Texas, Isaac chose a bold strategy: baiting. He used a mix of corn and fermented fruit to lure the wild boars in. Then, he quickly found the perfect ambush spot, one that offered both a clear line of sight and safe cover for a clean shot. It didn't take long. A large boar eventually showed up, drawn by the rich scent. This was the moment. While it was busy feasting, Isaac raised his rifle, took precise aim at its vital point, and pulled the trigger. The shot landed perfectly. The target dropped on the spot. Also in a rugged mountain region, but Mason chose a completely different approach. He didn't rush. Instead, he spent hours observing and analyzing the movement patterns of wild boars. Only when the target finally appeared did Mason take action. One single shot, and the boar dropped instantly. From his perfect ambush point, other nearby boars stood no chance of escaping the sights. In just a few short minutes, Mason had completed the mission, claiming valuable rewards and saving the entire farming region at the foot of the mountain. Amid heavy snowfall, the ferocious wild boars rampaged across the land, destroying crops, tearing up fields, and leaving farmers' hard work in ruins. With razor-sharp tusks and the speed of storm, they were ready to attack anyone who dared to stand in their way. We gripped our rifles tightly, chasing the tracks they left behind on the freezing snow. Would we be able to bring down the beast before it turned back to strike? Join us and see how this intense battle unfolds. The weather was starting to get colder, so the wild boars would likely search for food to keep warm. The team quickly moved according to plan toward the snowy mountains. This time, we didn't use hunting dogs to track. Instead, we relied on binoculars to silently observe the prey. No barking, just tense eyes locked on every movement. The hunt officially began. Moving up to the snowy mountain peak, where I could better observe the traces left by the wild boars, I carefully scanned the bushes below, the usual hiding spots of the boars. I immediately raised my rifle and pulled the trigger. The shot was a perfect finish. The others, frightened, quickly scattered and fled deep into the forest. Following the mountain slope, we moved down toward the fields. In the distance, a herd of wild boars was trudging up, seemingly returning from the fields after foraging. I quickly picked an ambush spot, raised my rifle, and waited as they came closer. With my eyes fixed on the target, as soon as the herd emerged from the bushes, I didn't hesitate and pulled the trigger. The bullet hit one of the boars directly, and it collapsed to the ground. The others immediately panicked and fled into the forest at high speed. I quickly moved to track the fleeing boars. Running through the bushes and climbing a steep mound was exhausting, but I couldn't find any traces because the snow had covered their tracks. The mountains are vast, and the wild boars are many. All we have is our will and the gun in our hands to face off against these beasts. Oh, look. Eyes locked onto every move it makes. I quickly pull the trigger. One precise shot target down. Meanwhile, on a different slope of the mountain, Kevin was tracking the prey's trail. He struggled to move from the snowy foothills up to the rocky ridge above, but found no sign of the animal. Suddenly, a wild boar, panicked and fleeing headfirst, dashed right across his line of sight. Do you think it escaped? Kevin did not allow that to happen. He blocked every chance of escape for the fat boar by the force of its momentum. It spun several times and then rolled down beside a bush covered in cold snow. The weather grew colder and the snowfall thickened. We needed to quickly take care of the remaining boars. Moving into dense bushes, the perfect hiding spots for our prey away from gunfire, I suddenly spotted a silhouette lurking inside. I immediately raised my rifle and took careful aim. The boar seemed to sense the imminent danger and bolted at full speed, but the gunshot rang out, cutting off its escape. Another victory marked in the final hunt of the day.